Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News. It is September 13th, 2019. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to share a little bit of information with all of you. For many months now, I've been going back and forth with one of the tools and one of the websites that I used for years to do my Planet X research and do my investigations. The website is called Secchi. You can see it right there at the top of your screen. And this is the newest version of their website. But it is completely unoperational. Let's just put it that way. I've been using the Secchi website since, probably going back to, I would say, 2013. And I made some pretty incredible captures back in 2016. And I think that's what led to some of the problems. The Secchi website is run by the United States Naval Department, and I have emailed them numerous times wanting to know what the problem is with the website. Now, the heading of this video, the title, that says it all. So the Secchi website has been down for, well, I'd have to say probably more than 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 months. I'm actually losing count. But the boys in blue, they've been doing this nonstop with the research websites that I use to do my work. And I'm just pulling up the live chat so I could see all of you. I know it's very early in the morning, but I have a lot of work to do on a daily basis. Sometimes it's a little hard for me to get on here, in the late afternoon, early evening. So, anyways, getting back to what we're talking about, I'm gonna show you some pretty incredible information and some videos that I've captured a few years back, and probably a lot of you may or may not have seen this footage. Whenever I captured it, it made its way all around the internet, all around YouTube, Facebook, and we'll get into that. But a few days ago, I decided to once again email the Naval Department that handles this Secchi website, because, folks, I use this website consistently to get some of my views. And I found, after I made an incredible capture and discovery in 2016, shortly after that, the website started lagging as far as the updates on information. So normally, the Secchi website is a camera setup that is on the Stereo A Core 2 space satellite. And we use the Stereo quite a bit. We haven't had any problems with the Stereo and their information other than missing timestamps and missing data. And then it seems like, maybe a few days later that data is re-uploaded. But getting back to Secchi. Now all of a sudden, the whole damn website is completely messed up. And this is going back maybe like 9 months ago. Then it was taking 3, 4, 5 days to get data out of this website. And it did not look like what you're seeing on your screen right now. It was kind of plain, totally different from what you're seeing here right now. None of the tabs, when it comes to data collection, none of those tabs work. So what they did is they let their internet domain name certificate expire. And what that did is that made their website considered to be unsafe. So you were still able to access the information. You had to do a few little things to get into it. And I didn't worry about it. I have, very, very good spy software and malware and virus protection on all of my computers here in my office. So I wasn't worried about it. And over a period of time, accessing this information became harder and harder and harder and harder. And remember, the SETI website is part of the United States Navy. The United States Navy and Research Laboratories. So I emailed them on Monday morning. I got so fed up with this information not being available because here's the deal, folks. All of these NASA websites, including SETI, okay, they belong to the people. Our tax dollars pay for all of this. Okay, in actuality, they do. And that's why NASA has public information. That's why we have public access to the stereo website. We used to have access to the SETI website. And we have very, very limited access to the SOHO website. And the SOHO website, that's the blue and the red C2 and C3 coronagraphs. Well, because we were gaining so much information from the SOHO website, on January 24th of last year, they took the SOHO website down. And they claimed that they were upgrading their interface, is how they put it. So we waited, and we waited, and we waited, and we waited for months on end. Finally, their interface was completed, and the website was completely changed. But it was changed not for the good of the public. It was changed so we could not access information like we used to. So kind of like the stereo website where we were able to just go in and put a date and get a date range. And bingo, we were able to pull up the information. Well, you literally can't do that anymore. And a lot of the websites that I use over the course of the last several years, and some of them are maintained by universities here in the United States. All of those websites, all of the public access to those websites and that data and that information is gone. And I mean gone. I'm not saying that the websites don't give you access. No, the websites are just literally gone. So, I don't know what's going on exactly with the universities that supplied solar data. All I know is the websites have been disappearing one by one. And I used a lot of these university websites for many, many years, and I've disclosed a lot of information that I've captured from these websites, from these universities that do solar research and have solar research programs at their colleges and their universities. So those websites are gone. There was about 10 of them. They're gone. So we can't access that information anymore. So SOHO made their adjustments, and they were not, I repeat, they were not to our benefit. They basically made things harder and very limited information. So we really can't go back and get it. We can use the Helio viewer, but it's kind of not the same thing. You go back into Helio viewer and you could put date ranges in, but you might not get what you want. So that's a whole other story there. So getting back to SETI, I utilized the SETI naval website every single day. And And when they took the SETI website completely down and you couldn't access any data, I thought, oh boy, here we go again. Well, it's been, I think, I don't know, maybe like 9 months now. And you would think, because this is the United States Navy or NASA, the United States Government Space Agency program, you would think that their websites would be super sophisticated and they would have top-notch software. Well, guess what? They don't. They don't at all. And the programs and their, quote, interface, all this is accessing data from their servers. I've spoke to my web developer many, many times about this subject matter. And you know, he's told me, he said, Scott, this really isn't a big deal. All you're doing is putting in a query, a date range, and some other data points. And then you hit enter. Bing. And it accesses that information from their servers. Well, folks, I think personally that over the course of the last 2 years, I have shown the boys in blue where I get my data. And they know it. It's actually really pissing me off because it is inhibiting our research, our investigation. And, you know, look, some people may think that this is not legitimate research. I do. And there are tens of thousands of other people that think this information is important. I think it is important. So anyways, getting back to SETI, I decided to once again email them. And I emailed their naval webmaster, and I emailed several people at the United States Naval Observatory and Research Lab. I got their email addresses, and you were able to access that information from the old site that is still up, but you can't really use it. So I emailed these people, and I said, hey, listen, you know, when is the SETI website going to be operational again? Well, lo and behold, on Tuesday, I received an email back, and I'll pull it up on the screen. I'll show it to you. And they said that, you know, it would be operational, I guess, in a few weeks. Then yesterday, I got another email from another individual at the U.S. Naval Research Laboratory, and they told me that the person that is in charge of this endeavor is out of town, and they would get back to me as soon as possible. So one person is telling me the website is almost finished and will be completely operational very, very soon. Another person on the other end is telling me somebody will get back to me. So it's very, very hard to believe what they're saying. I believe that they are cleaning up a lot of data on the SDO, the website that we use to take views of the sun and view the coronal holes in the extreme ultraviolet light. I noticed the other day on the 48-hour loop that we always look at these coronal holes, well, lo and behold, only 24 hours of data was showing on a 48-hour loop. That's the first time I've ever seen that. So what the hell happened? How hard is it? I mean, come on. These are some of the top leading heliospheric scientists, engineers, and technicians in the world. Their IT department has to be top-notch. So what the hell's going on? What's going on with all of the universities that had heliospheric and solar programs and websites where they had critical and crucial information for space weather? What happened to all of them? Did they lose funding? I doubt that very highly, because space weather has become such a vital part of our existence here on this planet. So I doubt very highly if their funding was pulled, because that would put a lot of people out of work. So I wanted to share that little tidbit of information with you. Now I'm going to give you a little history on what I've discovered on the SETI website. And remember, this is the SETI is part of the Stereo spacecraft. It is a pack of cameras that was fixed on that spacecraft before it was launched into space. Stereo A, Stereo B. For all of you that don't know, in 2014, we supposedly lost contact with Stereo B, and we can't get any data from it. I personally think that's a complete lie. I don't believe that, because critical information came from Stereo B in 2007. I've shown all of you that footage of this rogue object looping around the sun and looping back out in a very eccentric and elliptical orbit. I've shown it many, many times. Got myself in a lot of trouble when that footage surfaced. Now, I got myself into even more trouble with the Naval Research Laboratory in 2016. Why? Well, I'm going to show you why. And somebody within their organization went as far as to try to take my YouTube channel down because of what I discovered and what I showed everybody. Not only did I show it to everybody, at the time I was doing some collaboration work with Steve Olson at WSO, and I showed Steve the information, and they went after him also. They were actually successful in taking the WSO YouTube channel down for 30 days. They did the same thing to me almost on the same day that they did it to WSO. However, I fought the takedown with YouTube. I fought it legally, and my YouTube channel was only offline for 7 days. Why? Because they issued fake copyright strikes against me and WSO. Well, here's the thing, folks. The United States government cannot copyright anything. Look it up. I worked in copyright law for 22 years in my career. Copyright infringement, copyright law was part of my daily curriculum. I know it very, very well. So that was part of my defense. And YouTube, they couldn't do anything about it because I was right. I literally quoted the law. I wrote my own counterclaim brief, which was sent to YouTube. And I said, hey, listen, this is completely illegal. The United States government, the United States military, and NASA, they cannot copyright anything. That's why if you go to the NASA website, they have a whole entire video media section on their website. And they make those educational videos and informational videos available for download. Yes, download. Push the button, download it, and you can use it. So once I went down that path, they released my YouTube channel, and it was at that point in time that things really started to go downhill as far as my channel being censored. Now, I can go back into all of my YouTube analytics, and I could show you that the Planet X News YouTube channel consistently put forth 2.5 million views per month, every single month. We would put on anywhere from 10 to 15,000 new subscribers every single month. The views on the videos ranged from 30 to 50 to 100 to 150,000. Well, they took care of all of that. So that's why this YouTube channel is so heavily censored. That's why you see 84,000 subscribers and very low video view counts. I've been back and forth with YouTube on this. I was just going through a battle with the YouTube support on Twitter. And once again, they give me the same BS line, "Oh, we don't censor anybody." Well, that's all complete crap. So, I'm going to show you some video clips of what I captured on the Secchi website. And there were debunkers that came out of every inch of the sewer system, and they were saying, "Oh, that's a glitch. Oh, that's a projected image of the sun on the camera systems, blah, blah, blah." I mean, every excuse under the sun. And the U.S. Naval Observatory Research Laboratory, they even came out with a statement shortly after this video footage came out. Mr. MBB333, he showed it on his YouTube channel after he caught wind of it. I believe BP Earthwatch showed the same footage. They didn't give too much information on it. They pretty much just showed the footage. A lot of other YouTube channels misrepresented the information and so on and so forth. But the little NASA trolls and the NSA trolls and the whole troll scum brigade came after me, and they came after WSO pretty heavily. I didn't care, because I knew what I was seeing was no camera anomaly, and it sure as hell wasn't some type of projected image, because I've been viewing data from the Secchi website for many, 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 many years, and I never seen anything like it. So we're going to go ahead and jump into that, and I'm going to show you, for all of you that have never seen this footage before, and we're going to check it out. So you just bear with me here. Let's get out of this video clip. I'm going to shrink my head down a little bit here. And let's get into this file here. Okay, folks, I'm going to just stop that opening and stop this video right here. This is the logo of the Office of Naval Research, Science, and Technology. And this is the department that runs that Secchi website. They do all kinds of things. I never really understood why the Office of Naval Research, Science and Technology, I really never understood or really know the reason why the Navy is so involved in space science and space exploration. But if all of you don't realize and you don't know that Dr. Robert Harrington, I would say the godfather of Planet X, he worked for the United States Naval Observatory, chief astronomer. So there is a lot of direct connection between the Navy research, Dr. Harrington, Planet X, and that damn website. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and let this play. And I just prepared a video so we can just go through this and I don't have to jump around from video clip to video clip. So back on your screen now, this is the new version of this SETI website where we can access solar data. But guess what? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You can't access data from it. But little do they know that over the last couple of days, I've discovered my own back door to once again sneak in there. Now, I'm not hacking or anything, don't get me wrong, but I found a back door where I'm able to get in there and I'm able to access queries and I'm able to get data that I want, data that I need, and I can go all the way back in time and I could pull information up. So after plugging around a little bit, I finally found this, and it's taken quite a while. So I'm going to go ahead and advance this just a little bit. Now, let me get to this point right here. So let me go back a little bit. Do-do-do-do. Just give me 1 second. Okay, what you're going to see on your screen now, this was captured in 2016. And I'm going to go ahead and let this play through. And what you're seeing is a massive, massive object. And this was kind of momentarily, according to the video footage and the timeline, this was captured on the stereo ahead HI1 camera. So there's an HI2 and an HI1 camera. These cameras, they use extreme ultraviolet light technology to see into space from the cameras on the spacecraft. They are not, I repeat, they are not pointed at the sun. They are pointed at the planets orbiting the sun. And you can see these long white lines, and you could see way down here, you could see a planet. I don't know exactly what planet that would be. I don't have the markers on it. The white lines are what they refer to as Birkeland current lines. They show up on this type of video using that extreme ultraviolet light. Now, when I saw this, I was just doing my day-to-day work, and this flashed across the screen. And I said to myself, what the hell was that? What the hell was that? And lo and behold, I grabbed the information immediately, screen captured it, and then I started reviewing it. And I said to myself, wow, what the hell is that? And again, at the time, I was doing some collaboration in 2016 with WSO before they turned yellow belly. And I showed this information to Steve Olson and Wayne Steiger. And it pretty well blew their mind. They didn't know what the hell it was, but I had a pretty good idea. Now, let me give you a little background on this. You can see this. This is basically the window. This is the window seal where the camera is looking out into space. Kind of like a porthole type window lens. Off over here, way over here to the left, the sun would be way over there to the left. So it is in the proximity to see a coronal mass ejection. So if we were viewing some HI-1 footage from the Secchi camera and there was a coronal mass ejection, you would see it come from the left to the right, and you would see that expulsion of that coronal mass ejection. That was another reason for the camera system on the stereo spacecraft. It was meant to analyze coronal mass ejections. So this object shows up, and I was floored. I caught this object rotating. Rotating not this way like a normal planet would. This object was rotating like this, end over end. Well, that blew me away. And I put together a video that day, and I publicized it. And within 24 hours, boom, all the problems with the Naval Observatory started, and all the problems with YouTube started. And I'm going to show you even more. So I'm going to let this video play through, and you guys check it out. Now, the debunkers, the scum of YouTube, came out, and they claimed that it was nothing more than the sun. Really? Well, alrighty then. So, since when does the sun rotate this way? No, the sun rotates this way. It takes 28 days for our sun to make one rotation. This object was rotating, and it wasn't taking 28 days. Let's watch it. I'll let this play through. And you could see the rotation. You could see the time clock and the timestamp right below your screen. Now, I will have to admit that it does resemble a burning star of some kind. And let's take into consideration that this is all the way back in 2016. Is there a possibility that some of the outer surface of this object was literally burning away? Now, you know, everybody that talks about Nibiru and the mythological Nibiru, they always talk about this 1 million mile long debris trail. That was all invented by Nancy Leader and Marshall Masters and a few of the older folks that go back with all of that mis and disinformation. So it is my idea, my thoughts, that there's a very high possibility as this object was beginning to create that 28-day orbit, it was getting closer and closer and closer to the sun, to the point where the sun's gravity literally snatched it up, and it is now in that 28-day orbit. It is also my hypothesis that this object at these points in time was literally shedding layers off of it. And it would probably have to, if an object was getting that close to the sun, those interactions, those chemical interactions between two objects like that, I would definitely think that there would be some shedding of the surface. It would definitely be coming off because the object doesn't really look like this anymore. And in 2017, I obtained those incredible photographs with the help of two German astronomers over in Germany, getting the first close-up views of this Planet X stellar core brown dwarf object, whatever the hell it is. Now, in this footage, you can see, this is the same footage, but you can see to the very left of the screen, you saw a coronal mass ejection occurring, which proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that the sun is over there, way over there to the left. So how in the hell could that be the sun? And especially with some of these closer planets to it. Now, I do remember that two of those planets were labeled as Mercury and Venus. At the time, this object may have been orbiting inside of the orbit of Venus between Mercury and Venus. So if you know anything about the sun's gravitational force, it is tremendous. But listen, people always ask, why doesn't the sun's gravity pull that object in? Well, just like every other, I'm going to stop this right there. Just like any other planet orbiting the sun, as long as that planetary body stays in motion, the sun will not pull it in and destroy it. So as long as that object was staying in an orbit, it wasn't going to crash into the sun. Just like Mercury doesn't crash into the sun, even though when Mercury orbits the sun, it seems to fall into the sun, but it has an elliptical orbit. So Mercury's orbit is not flat on a flat plane like the Earth. So this object is definitely not going to crash into the sun anytime soon. I don't think it ever will. We still don't know what the chemical and the composition of this object is. Dr. Albers has referred to it as a stellar core. I never heard that term before until Dr. Albers came aboard, and then just recently in an article about objects being found in deep, deep space, these exoplanets. The term was used in a journaled paper, and they used the term stellar core. And that just came out a few months ago. And I did a complete report and video on it. So there must be some substance to what she called this object. And folks, let's face it. There is so much that we do not know about our own planet and our own solar system and our galaxy and the universe. So when these asinine amateur astronomers and even the professional ones come out there and try to blow this out of the water, they don't have any good information. Just like the two famous astronomers, Badagen and Brown, and their Planet 9. Where is Planet 9? Planet 9 doesn't even exist. Planet 9 only exists on a chalkboard in a mathematical equation. That's it. No observational evidence, no evidence whatsoever. My personal opinion, Planet 9, that hypothesis was placed out there years ago to circumvent people from looking into what is really out there. And folks, some people may think this is complete nonsense, but it is not. You are living in the times right now where you are seeing changes happening to this planet, extreme changes on a daily basis that are almost hard to believe. I just watched several video clips yesterday and this morning about catastrophic flooding in Spain. I literally watched probably 50 or 60 cars on a highway in Spain washed away. I don't know if anybody was killed or injured in these floods, but the video footage was spectacular and very scary. There are some things going on in the Amazon right now. I caught some video yesterday morning and this morning in watery areas of the Amazon, literally the water and the trees disappearing and sinking underground, disappearing. The same thing happened in Louisiana and in Arkansas the year before. I saw that video. Whole trees, 100 feet high, just disappearing into the water and gone. So our planet, our Earth, is definitely going through some very, very serious changes. Are these changes what they refer to as just this kind of catastrophic climate change? Well, I think we are going through a climate change, but what sparked it? It just all of a sudden bloomed in 2018. And then now in 2019, all of the politicians are talking about it. I watched the Democratic debate last night on ABC. And, you know, they were on that topic once again. Oh, we only have 10 years. Somebody knows something that we don't. And there have been extreme changes to this planet that are unprecedented. And they are going to continue. And I think maybe that is one of the main reasons why they hate my guts, because I put out legitimate information, not make-believe stuff on Nibiru and Nemesis and Herberculus and not these lens flares and all of this other junk that everybody else is spreading all over social media and these wannabe channels. I have produced and I have given the best and most credible information on this subject matter. That's why they hate my guts. That's why they troll my YouTube channel. And I even have people now trying to infiltrate our Planet X News Facebook group. Last month, check this out. I get a guy, we approve him as a member. He looks like an ordinary guy. He comes in there, he's quiet for the first few days, and then he thinks behind my back he's going to start creating this doubt in people's minds that are in the group. And I confronted him, and he started with name calling. Look, I'm the worst person in the world that you want to get into a word battle with, because I will destroy you. Period. So I was kind of curious about this guy. So I went to his Facebook page. Oh, lo and behold, he just joined Facebook 2 weeks before coming to our group. He basically had almost nothing on his Facebook page. So I took a screenshot of his profile picture, and I went to searching for photographs on the internet using his photograph, his personal picture. Oh, bingo. Lo and behold, what came up? He is an officer for the United States Air Force out of Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland. Yeah. His picture came up with his little navy blue Air Force outfit on. Yeah. So I confronted him about that. He claimed the photograph wasn't him, but the faces were identical. So now we have another guy who just popped in out of nowhere in our group yesterday. He claims to be a very well-to-do astronomer and states that he has a very sophisticated telescope and symmetry equipment, and he has the whole kit and caboodle. And we got into a little word battle back and forth, and he's telling people, oh, well, if you want real information, then you should be able to access Stereo A and Stereo B, those space satellites. Really? So if you are as skilled in astronomy and space science as you say you are, then you would have known that Stereo B has been out of commission since 2014. That's right. You didn't know that, did you? Because you were a fake. You're a wannabe. You're probably one of these damn little run-around social media government disinformation agents, because there's a whole telemarketing room full of them, folks. And that trolling operations, all of those trolling operations started heavily right after 9/11 because all of the conspiracy theorists came out and they were looking into the truth about 9/11, and that's where these organizations like J-Trig over in the UK, that's where they were all born. And they still exist now. And with the power of social media now, they are everywhere. I got an email a few days ago from one of my longtime subscribers who's never emailed me before, has never made any comments on any of my videos. Him and his wife are, she's a psychologist, he's a psychiatrist. They have been viewing my information since 2016. And he sent me an email and he said, you know, Scott, he introduced himself and told me who he was and who his wife was. And he said, you know, I've heard you mention that your mom was a psychologist and a professor of psychology. And, you know, so are me and my wife. We're in those fields. And we just wanted to let you know that out of all of these years that we've been watching your YouTube channel, we've never commented. But we do read the comments under your videos. And we can see that probably a large number of people commenting under your videos are not real. They're just not real people. Because who would leave derogatory, hate-filled, doubtful comments under videos of yours where you are showing actual proof of something? And I emailed him and his wife back and I said, well, you know, you're right. I've been analyzing that for many, many years. And I do agree. I get the same thing on Facebook. I get these people that just pop out of nowhere. And I get people that want to join our group. And I see that, wow, they just opened up their Facebook page and created it today. And look, folks, if you don't have a profile picture and you don't have, you know, some background on your Facebook page, I'm going to catch you. You may get into the group, but you won't be there for long. As soon as you start running your mouth against our research and what we do, you'll be blocked and you'll be booted out. So getting back to this footage, I found it to be absolutely incredible. And if we look at the picture that's on your screen right now, and I have all of these in still photographs, and we're gonna go over them. But you can see right here in the dead center, there is a perfectly round, dark sphere. Could that possibly be one of these secondary objects? Very, very highly possible. There's only been 2 times in all of my years of this research, I'm sorry, 3 times that I've captured multiple objects on these cameras. This is one of them. And it's incredible. I'm going to let this play through and you guys can check it out. And it does go through kind of rapidly because this is what you were seeing. This is what you were seeing on your screen. Now, I have not done anything to these photographs except turn them into negatives so I can see things a little bit more clearly in the background. And these are the still photographs that I've taken. But I do have them separate outside of the video, and we'll definitely check them out. And there's a hell of a lot more. I found some of the most incredible data and information in 2016 and 2017. I really think that I shook things up to the point where I can guarantee you that the people at NASA and the people that run these government websites, I mean, I pretty much showed them how I was doing my work. And therefore, that gave them the opportunities to circumvent and stop me and possibly even clean up the data. Therefore, that's why it went from instantaneous data to now taking 3, 4, 5 days to get 1 day of data or even 12 hours of data. Why? Technology has gotten better, so the access to the information should have gotten better. It's just a website. That's it. Now, taking into consideration that they probably have to have some pretty damn rather large servers to house all of this information, let's just put it this way. It's the government. They have the money. And now all of a sudden, last year, the year before, and now this year, all of a sudden, all of the interfaces of these websites that we use as our tools are being taken down, they're being manipulated, or just flat out taken away. What does that say? I mean, if you really think about it, folks, what does that tell you? That tells you that a carpenter that needs to build a house can't do it without a hammer and nails. They may give you the nails, but they're going to take away your hammer. So you need those tools. And I'm going to stop this right here. This was an absolute incredible photograph. Right here. Right here. You see this huge surface area? I took a photograph on my screen, a screen capture of that huge plateau, and I zoomed in on it, and I created a high definition view of this area right here. And it is 3-dimensional. It was literally a massive plateau. Massive. Probably miles high. And Lord only knows how long. So, if that was the damn sun with a glitch and superimposed into the camera system of the Secchi, how in the hell did it produce that huge land plateau right there? Yeah, no one's ever answered that question. They clam up. They shut up. Because there's a high possibility at this time in 2016, when this object was getting closer and closer and closer and closer to the sun over this last 3-year period, and its orbit shrunk and shrunk and shrunk and shrunk to the point where now it is in this 28-day orbit. You can see the surface area of this object does not look like the sun. Period. You can also see that something that's very astonishing are these polar caps. Look at the point up here and down here. There is another one. And we'll review this in the still photographs outside of this video. And you're going to see it. You're going to see it. So that literally, to me, looks like an object that was traveling for, who knows, millions, possibly billions of years through cold space. Well, what happens to rogue planets, rogue planetary objects, stellar core objects? What happens to them when they're traveling through deep space? They get cold. It's freezing cold. There's a high possibility that these were maybe ice caps. That could be frozen methane. Who knows? Hydrogen? Who knows? Frozen helium? Who knows? We've never been able to get that composition, and we probably never will, because they hide and they will not disclose any of this information to the general public. Same thing with aliens. We know they're there. Just tell us. Show us the information. We'll adjust. We will assimilate. So we're going to go ahead and let that play through, but I'll show you the still photographs, and we'll go ahead and we'll zoom into that, and you will see for yourself that that is a huge plateau of, we'll just call it land or surface area. So when does the sun have surface area? It doesn't. It's a ball of freaking gas. So this is going to play through, and this is how it was pictured, and I kind of sped it up a little bit so you guys wouldn't get bored. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. And I was able to gather some really, really incredible still photographs from this. And I analyzed it for weeks on end. So, you know, getting back to the very beginning about what I was saying, why in the hell would the Naval Observatory, the research laboratory, why would they come after me and Olson for publicizing this information? They whacked Steve's channel for 30 days. I was lucky. I fought it, and I got my channel reinstated in 7 days. But why? Why? This isn't their information. This is public access information. Copyright law does not apply to any government entity. It does not. Now, you can get yourself in a jam if you are publicizing NASA videos that they have for download. NASA does use music from other sources that they've obtained copyright permission to use. So you can copy a NASA video and you can re-upload it to YouTube, and you can guarantee within 72 hours you'll get a copyright strike or a content ID claim, not on the video, but on the music that NASA used in the video. See, because NASA can't copyright stuff like what you're seeing on your screen right now. So that's why I explained they have that multimedia section of their website, and they give you the opportunity to push that download button and download that criteria, download that information, and you can use it. So check this out. Let me just stop that real quick. Now, This just goes to show you here. Let me get this right in my picture frame here real quick. In 2013, and that's where this is from. This is from November 28th, 2013, and the stereo Secchi spacecraft was in a different position. The sun was now on the right, as you can see from that burst, and that was a coronal mass ejection. What do you see on the left-hand side of your screen? What do you see there? Yeah, that's not Venus, and it sure as hell isn't Mercury, and it sure as hell isn't Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus. It's no known planet in our solar system. Yeah, I publicized this information also. And it wasn't too long after I dug this up out of the archives that the Secchi website started going downhill. And now we can't even access data from it. You want to hear something that's funny? Whenever I sent those emails to the Naval Secchi Laboratory and Research Center, when my emails come through, they come through as Planet X News. Yeah, Planet X News. And you know damn well that they see that heading, which is the name of that email address, Planet X News. Yeah. They know I'm not fucking around. And I want the data. And we have a right to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a few more weeks to get their shit together. And then I'm going to ramp things up. And let's put it this way. I'm going to give them till the 1st of October. And then I'm going to start going a route, possibly something like the Freedom of Information Act, where, you can file the proper legal papers to gain access to documents from the United States government. Something in those lines has to apply to this type of data. This is public access information. These websites, those spacecraft, all of it was built, and this is all maintained with United States citizens' taxpayer money. And if I have to go, over people's heads, and I got to make a big stink about this, hey, folks, you know me, I will do it. I will do it. Because, like I said, they are taking away the tools that we have used to make these discoveries and understand what is going on in our inner solar system that is affecting our sun and that is affecting the planet that we live and breathe on. What is wrong with that? What is the big conspiracy? There is no conspiracy anymore. I have shown the world, parts of the world, that this object exists. It is now in a 28-day orbit around the sun, confirmed once again yesterday and the day before. Mark over at the Blue Kool-Aid channel, he's been monitoring some things on the SEEDS website. There was a small coronal mass ejection, which I expected to occur between the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, or 14th of the month. Just like I said a few days ago when I did my live stream last week, I said we're getting close to that time of the month. We're going to see probably a small coronal mass ejection. We may catch another view. Now, I've been consistent on those. I really hate to use the word predictions. They're really not predictions. It is what it is. I know the orbit of this object. People doubt it. Tell you what, folks, if you doubt it, you go right ahead. You can doubt it all you want, but you can't prove me wrong. Because if you have to prove me wrong, then that means you are going to need data. You are going to need proof. You are going to need observational evidence to prove me wrong. And you can't do it. That's why nobody likes me. That's why they want to steer you away from this YouTube channel. They want to steer you away from me. Period. See, they want you to look at ridiculous videos on YouTube of lens flares and supposedly weird things in the sky and in the clouds. They want to cloud your mind. And you should really be insulted by some of the things that people show you on social media and YouTube. Why you folks don't open up your mouth in the comments section and let these fools have it. Because they are actually lying to you. They're lying to you and they are insulting your intelligence. When you want critical and real information about what we are researching, you come right here. You come right here and you will see it for yourself. You won't see make-believe. You won't see lens flares and camera anomalies. You will see the truth right before your eyes. Let's get back to this video footage. Would you say I had too much coffee this morning? Never. It's only my second cup. I'm just normally high-strung and excited like this naturally. So I suppose that everything that we see in relation to a photograph like this that I captured this in 2013. This was in my archives. Okay, because I've been doing Planet X research for almost 20 years now. Okay, I just started to publicize this information in 2016 because I started to see the critical Earth changes. And then, the chemtrailing thing, that kind of got me off guard. And I said to myself, what the hell are they doing up there? Why are they doing that? That's not normal. That's not natural. So I have literally over the years put together one of the, or probably the largest databases of Planet X information, photographs. This information that you're seeing on your screen right now is also from January of 2013 on the H1 or the HI1A camera. You won't see anything like this anymore. Do you see that? That's the sun off to the right. That is an unknown object moving towards the sun. You see the sun react in the form of a coronal mass ejection. I mean, folks, look, I've been studying this for a long, long, long time. I have educated myself above and beyond. That's why I say, when we see these coronal mass ejections occur on a timeline, that to me signifies an interaction between this object and the sun. What is produced during that interaction? A coronal mass ejection. Now, I'm not saying that, years and years ago, coronal mass ejections are a natural occurrence on the sun. But when we see them on a specific timeline, and during that coronal mass ejection, we actually catch a visual of an object, a large object that should not be there. Come on now. We're not fools. Now, I caught this in February 24th and 25th, 2019. This year, the sun is on the left. What do you see spinning and appearing to the right of your screen? Oh, I understand. It is a reflection and nothing more than a camera anomaly, a camera artifact. Okay. Whatever you say. Yeah. But as you can see, as that object, let's just jump back here real quick. As you can see, I'll stop it right there. You can see the sun on the left, the object on the right. They're facing each other. That little dot that you see with the line, the Birkeland current line underneath it, that was Mercury right there. So that's telling me that that object is now inside of the orbit of Mercury, and you can see right where my cursor arrow is, it was creating a coronal mass ejection. I think that these coronal mass ejections are caused by the magnetic field interaction between that object and the sun, literally pulling the plasma right off of the sun, pulling the outer atmosphere, the corona, off of the sun. And then, boom, we get the coronal mass ejection. I'll tell you what, folks, we are very, very lucky in some ways that we are in a solar minimum right now for the next 11 years. Now, that solar minimum is going to create a lot of really, really crazy weather anomalies for the next decade, 10 years. But before that, in 2015, 2016, and 2017, we had some coronal mass ejections that were massive. And I mean massive. And there have been many, many times in the course of those years that the Earth dodged a bullet, meaning that coronal mass ejection wasn't directly Earth facing. Now, it's not going to obliterate the Earth, but what a massive coronal mass ejection would do if it was facing Earth, or an X-flare like we saw in 2018 and 2017, I mean, that would literally obliterate our electrical grid and our satellites that, you know, a lot of us do depend on, GPS, communication satellites, cell satellites. It would definitely cause some problems. I mean, we can literally be cast into the 1800s instantly with our power grids going down. Just think how much you freak out when your electric goes out during a thunder and lightning storm. Yeah, you lose power for an hour and you're freaking out. So just imagine if we had something like that occur on Earth and it destroyed large portions of our power grid. You people would be going freaking nuts because the power grid would be down for years. Some even say a decade, 10 years. So that would be the punishment that we would get for advancing in technology and relying on electricity and relying on those satellites that are all orbiting our planet. So that's just to give you a little background on that. And I mean, this has occurred back in the mid-1800s, the Carrington event, a very, very massive coronal mass ejection directly towards the Earth. And it completely fried telegraph lines. It created a lot of problems, fires in buildings that had the telegraph lines going through them. And, you know, that, and people didn't know. People didn't know about these things yet on the sun. So that's why the Carrington event is so vitally important to all of us. You're going to see some photographs scrolling across your screen now of just, excuse me, just some, my goodness, recent captures. My God. God, I was choking. You guys almost see me bite it right here live on YouTube. Ah, my God. But these are just some recent captures. And again, you know, I mean, you're looking at a photograph that I caught recently on the Cactus Coronagraph program, right as a coronal mass ejection was occurring. This was right within the 28-day orbital cycle of this object. And again, bingo, there it is. It's plain as day. It's right in front of your eyes. So, you know, for people that want to doubt this information or they want to call me names and all this other crap, that's fine. I know you're not real. I know you're a complete fake, because any human being with half of a brain would look at that and say, holy hell. How could you call that fake? How could you even call me a liar? How could you call me a fearmonger? How could you tell the rest of the people in the comment section that I'm a liar and I'm a fake when I show you exactly where the information came from, and any day, any time, you guys can go see it for yourself? Like they say, I'm just the messenger. Oh, don't kill the messenger. Hey, you never know. Someday soon, I may end up dead. I may end up in some kind of crazy, suspicious accident. Hell, it happens to scientists and, you know, people like me every single day. The only thing I have on my side is I don't know the Clintons. Ha ha! Yeah, a little bit of, that was supposed to be a joke, folks. Let's jump out of here and doobie-doobie-doo. Let's go into those screenshots. Here is the real quick. Here's the email that I sent to the SETI, and that was the title for my email SETI website. And you can see, remember I told you how it says Planet X News? Could you imagine this guy Carl Badams, who got my email? Oh shit, here he goes. Here comes that guy Scott from Planet X News. Now he wants more information. And you could see I was blunt and I was to the point. When will the SETI website be operational again? Plain and simple. It says, hello. The new site is operational now, but we are still working on the database interface and hope to have that done in the next couple of weeks. If there's any specific data that you urgently need, let me know which spacecraft camera dates, and I can get it to you. Best wishes, Carl. And the only thing I typed in, great, thanks for the update. Isn't that funny? They want to help me. Yeah. I doubt that very highly. These people know who I am. This is not the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth email that they've gotten from me over the years. The folks that run the stereo website, that lady, I believe her name is Teresa. She's gotten numerous emails from me, and they do answer them. I've also put applications in to work at NASA in their heliospherics department, and my applications have been denied. Shit. Hold on 1 second, folks. One second. I'm supposed to be at work right now at my shop, bossing people around, but I wanted to get this this live stream out there. And yeah, so that was the email that I sent SETI. And as you can see, I mean, I wasn't BSing you folks. It's right there. We are still working on the database interface. I mean, I almost wanted to email Carl back and tell him, you know what? I'll use a term from President Trump. You're fired. Because if it takes you that long to construct and coordinate a database interface and you work for the United States Navy, I mean, come on, man, go hire some engineers. I mean, put some of these trolls on your payroll. They sure as hell think they know it all. Maybe they can fix the database interface. So I can already see that once this is done, this database interface, this should work like a charm. But I can guarantee that it won't. It's going to be exactly like what they did at the Soho website, where you can't go and access data. Now, we could use the Seeds website, and let's go ahead and let me show you something. Let's get out of here. And let's open up the Seeds website. Now, this website, me and Mark use quite frequently. And we can go and we can access data on a couple of these coronagraphs. And as you can see right up here in the upper left-hand corner, this is one of the universities that I was referring to. George Mason University Space Weather Lab. Okay, they maintain this website. This is their website. Well, here's the thing, folks. They have access to a lot of the data that we don't have access to as private citizens. So once they get the data, then they will post it onto this website. Over the last couple of months, some of you may have heard Mark over at the Blue Kool-Aid channel complaining and me complaining about strings of data not being posted. Now, normally, George Mason University, this site is spot on, meaning this data is uploaded instantaneously in universal time. We weren't having any problems with it. Then, all of a sudden, 9 months ago, we started making incredible discoveries on the coronagraphs using this data. And then what happens? Now, periodically, we will go through spurts of time where no data at all. Not just 1 or 2 days, 5 days, 10 days, 2 weeks. Yeah, there was a portion of time, oh my, it was several weeks. We had no data coming in from this website. But yet, there was nothing wrong with the spacecrafts, nothing wrong with the camera systems, nothing wrong at NASA. What the hell happened? I emailed the folks at George Mason University, and I asked them, what the hell are they doing? Where's the data? No reply from them. So there have been about 10 websites that I use that were from universities and other space heliospheric laboratories. They don't exist anymore. They're gone. They're offline. And a lot of these were critical to space weather data that I was using. Now, believe it or not, let me show you something else. Oops, wrong one. Oh, that's the wrong one too. Where the hell is it? I thought that was the one here. Oh, I got so many of these. Now, like that website that you see right there, the one that just clicked off your screen, that's only partially operational. Yeah. So, you know what I'm forced to do is I have to go to the Koreans, South Korea. this website, you see it right there at the top of your screen, Korean Space Weather Center. This is in Korean. I have to click up here and translate it into English. So I can go in and look at legitimate, uncensored space weather. And I could go in here and I could, check out a lot of different things, a lot of things that I can't get from my own country. My own damn country won't supply me with space data, space weather data. Yeah. What little bit we get from NOAA, it's just not good enough. I want more. It's not there. All of the other data sets that I would use, they've eliminated them. They're gone. Yeah. So, my search continues, and that just shows all of you the extremes that I go through on a daily basis to gather information to give to all of you and to show all of you and keep all of you informed. So let's jump out of the Korean website. Let's check out some of these screenshots. I was just stumbled onto one of my older photographs from 2017, and I was looking at it once again, and this was very, very early in 2017, and this just goes to show you how good of an eye, a trained eye that I have now whenever I look at, all of these different space photographs and cameras and things of that nature. And this was I actually caught this on the SETI website that I've been talking about since the very beginning. And this was on the HI2 camera. And if you look at it, if you look at the background, what you see in the background there, all of that big cloudiness, well, that's actually the Milky Way that you see in the background. And this photograph is blown up a little bit. You see Venus, you see Saturn way, way, way off in the distance, and you see little Mars. And this was captured early on in 2017. I believe it was in January. But do you guys notice anything about that photograph? I mean, you see a bunch of clouds and you see a bunch of stars, you see planets, but do you see anything that is kind of hidden right in front of your eyes? Do you see it? Let me see who sees it. Does anybody see it? Come on. Somebody, it's right by Mars, to the left of Mars. Nobody sees it. Looky right here. You see that round spherical object right there? Yeah, baby. She's just hidden in the clouds. Looky that. Just hidden. Right there. For nobody to even see. And that object is not right next to Mars. That object definitely at this time in January of 2017 was at a much, much further distance because it is very, very large. It looks like it's right next to Mars, but it was not. That object was very, very far off in the distance because you can see the small little white, look like particles. You can see those stars very, very far in the background. But I was once again looking at that photograph and I said to myself, holy hell. Here is a sepia filtered look to it. And you could see it. It's right there. Now, you're not going to get a perfectly spherical formation in deep space within the clouds of the Milky Way. It's just not going to happen. So that object was not giving off any light. There was no direct sunlight on that object because it was pretty far out there, and that's why it's not illuminated like you see Venus and Saturn and Mars in this photograph. So that object was pretty far out there. How far? I don't know. I wish I did. But let's jump out of here. I'm going to show you these photographs one by one real quick, and then I'll let you all go. These were the photographs from 2016, and this is what got me in trouble with the Navy Observatory and YouTube back in 2016. Why? If it's all fake, what's the deal? If it's all make-believe, what's the deal? Yeah. Interesting. Now remember, whenever I was showing you that video, remember I showed you those, what I referred to them as polar caps, because that's what they reminded me of. Look at the point up here and the point down here. Up here, down there. There's definitely something was going on. I believe it was some kind of a transformation of this object as it came from cold, deep space to the warm neighborhood of our local sun. And over the course of the last couple of years, the last 3 years, I believe that a large portion of this object's outer surface has been stripped away from its interaction with the sun. Again, I don't know what this object's composition is, so I couldn't tell you. But obviously, it is some sort of surface area. Could it be frozen hydrogen, frozen methane, frozen helium? Could it be a rocky surface, a lava type surface? We just don't know, folks. I mean, if it is a rocky type surface of some kind, that could possibly be the reason why in 2016 and in 2017 we saw that massive increase in NEOs, near Earth objects, aka asteroids, meteors. Yeah, might make sense if an object is shedding some of its outer layers because it's being stripped away by the sun. Oh, where might those objects get flung into? The inner solar system? Making their way out? Who knows? NASA, the boys in blue, they won't tell us anything. They just leave us do our own work. And then they send out the little disinformation agents to claim that we are all nuts. Yeah. Now, remember what I told you about this surface area right here? I referred to it as a plateau. That's what it reminded me of. Just a massive plateau, like something that you would see out in Utah or Colorado or, Nevada or something like that. Let's zoom into it. Does that look like the sun? That was what the debunkers said. Oh, it was nothing more than the sun, superimposed on the lens of the camera system on the Secchi spacecraft or the Secchi cameras. Man, you guys better train your trolls a little bit better because they suck and they don't get nothing by me. That is literally three-dimensional. You know how I can tell that big, long plateau's three-dimensional? Look at the shadow right here. Here's your surface, and here's your three-dimensional. Yeah. And then these caps, you can see how they've literally kind of melted over, and it reminds me of glaciers. Yeah, I'm really blowing your minds today. I'm glad. It's time that everybody fully understands what is happening. I don't care who you listen to on YouTube. I don't care if you follow the lens flare kings on YouTube and Facebook. It is high time that all of you start to understand the scientific truth. You're not going to see this object in the sky with a cell phone. Just not going to happen, folks. Just not going to happen. So, look, I'm not even going to get into that subject with any of you because it pisses me off. Let's look at the, well, that one's just a, let's get into this. Once again, you can see right here, you can see almost it almost looks like an ice-capped surface. Same thing right here on the bottom. If that was the sun, I viewed the sun every single day on all of these space cameras. I've never seen that kind of anomaly. Never, ever, 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 ever. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that as this object did come through deep, deep space for who knows, millions, billions of years, it's very, very cold. We don't know what the composition of this object is. We don't know that maybe possibly it had volcanoes at its poles that were spewing out material that kind of built up the north and south pole of this object. And like I showed you in the video, this object did not rotate on a flat plane like the Earth and the Sun. It rotated forward like that. That's strange. Very strange. But things like that in space do happen. Look at the rotational pattern of Venus. Venus doesn't rotate the same as the Earth. It rotates the opposite way. Look at the plane of Saturn and why Saturn is tilted so heavily. Something occurred somewhere down the line. Something came through this solar system and upset some things. But that was a long, long time ago, folks. And that is probably the possibility of older, ancient stories that Zecharia Sitchin referred to in some of his books. That may be what the Sumerians referred to, possibly the Egyptians, and even 6,500 years ago, what the Chinese referred to. But I can guarantee you that the object that you're seeing here today is probably not that object. It's not Nibiru. This is probably the object that Robert Harrington saw in his last days on Earth while he was in New Zealand. And he was observing a large object deep in space, and in his calculations, its trajectory was headed directly for our solar system. And then he never made it back from New Zealand back to the United States. He was the chief astronomer for the United States Naval Observatory. There is the Navy again. The man died suddenly after making these discoveries of esophageal cancer. The man never smoked a cigarette in his life. The man was in complete good health. But he made a discovery of a lifetime, and he feared it. He feared it. And he was set to go back to the United States and file a report. And that report was going to make it to the president's desk as a matter of national security, worldly security, because something like this would affect the entire world. Here's the issue. That object at that time in the 80s, or I think it was the 90s, early 90s, was so far out that it just looked like probably a little red blip, because he was using an infrared telescope system. Really couldn't tell much about it, other than he estimated that it would be coming towards our solar system, and that's it. That's it. We never got any of the true data from the IRAS computer and telescope. Once again, they hide it all. So it's left up to, people like me and maybe some others out there. I don't know. I haven't met anybody out there in YouTube land or on Facebook that is anywhere near like me. And I've never seen any other credible information, photographs, data, other than what I've captured myself. And I'm not an egomaniac like some of you assholes in the troll land say. I'm just confident in the work that I've done over this period of time. And now they're slowly taking these tools that we use, they're taking them away. Well, what does that say? That has to say something, folks. Read between the lines. It's becoming harder and harder to maintain observational evidence of this object, because we're sure as hell not going to get, super close-up photographs like you see here. Maybe, maybe not. I stay on top of it. Trust me, I do. But it's becoming very, very harder. And there is more and more and more and more disinformation out there. All of these Facebook groups, all of these people on YouTube now, what are they showing you? They're not showing you anything of substance. You don't even know who those people are. You don't. You don't know if the website that you go to, or the Facebook page that you go to, or the YouTube channel that you go to is run by a real human being that doesn't work for the government and that is not putting out fake information just to lead you astray. And they want you to think that all of the camera anomalies and the lens flares that these people show you on a daily basis are real, and everybody else is making fun of it. And then you catch on and you're like, oh man, this is all fake. Man, I'm not watching this anymore. And in the meantime, landslides are coming down on your house. Earthquakes are destroying your house. Hurricanes the size of freaking countries are wiping out your house. Rain in buckets. In Minnesota the other day, they got, what the hell was the total? 7.5 7.83 7.83 inches of rain in 7 hours. Wow. Then all of a sudden, bingo, we got this massive heat wave ripping across the south. Made its way up to me here in Pittsburgh. Look what just happened in Spain. It's still happening. Torrential downpours of rain, flooding everywhere. Increase in earthquake activity. Increase in volcanic activity. Fissures, huge cracks opening up on this planet. Massive sinkholes swallowing up city streets, houses, lakes, neighborhoods. Yeah. But it's all fake, folks. It's all fake. There is not a damn thing to worry about. I'm just being facetious. And if you don't know what that means I'm just making a little bit of a joke right now. We have very serious issues. And like my saying goes, knowledge is power. If you are fearful of some of these things, then you're going to have a hard time. You are. But grow some cojones, grow some balls. Knowledge is power. Pure power. The more you know, the more comfortable you will be. That object isn't going to kill anybody. No. It's not going to crash into the earth like the UK tabloids post in articles every single day. The Express and the Sun and the whatever the hell those UK phony online newspapers, they should be ashamed of themselves. They're part of the big disinformation campaign over in the UK. We got the same thing here in the United States. But you can see it, folks. Let me give a little heads up and shout out to everybody in Australia. They've had one hell of a winter time. The Southern Hemisphere, it's their winter time. They've had a crazy winter down there. It's usually nothing like what it's been this year. I called it as the seasons were changing 6 months ago. If you guys don't remember, I said that, New Zealand is the largest land mass in the Southern Hemisphere. Population, people. Now, change of seasons is coming. They're going to be going into their spring and summer. For the last 2 years, I have called it spot on, 100%, talking about the conditions that are going to arise in Australia. 2017, before it even happened, I warned the people in Australia that you were going to be going through a very, very massive heat wave that will last almost your entire summer. I predicted the same thing in 2018. And again, it was hellacious. Just insane. Well, guess what, folks? My Aussie friends, my beautiful Aussie friends, and also the folks down there in New Zealand. It's coming again. And your summertime is right around the corner. And you're going to get whacked again. And you are going to see temperatures above and beyond what you saw last year and the year before. So somehow, some way, prepare yourself. Make these arrangements now. And for all of us in the beautiful Northern Hemisphere, woo! We're going to be in for a little bit of a ride also, folks, because from what I'm seeing, what is transpiring right now, it looks like it's going to be for some sections of the United States and some sections of Western and Eastern Europe. Very, very, very wet fall conditions, similar to what transpired last year. But I think this year is going to be a lot worse. And we're probably going to see a lot of flooding, torrential downpours of rain, rock slides, mudslides. But it's not going to be the whole entire United States. There's going to be sections of it. North central part of the United States near the Canadian border. Canada is going to have their issues on the eastern coast and the western coast. So the central part should be, I don't know, maybe moderately clear, but that's not going to last. We're going to see all kinds of weather anomalies. And then we're going to get into winter. And let me tell you, for some people in the northern hemisphere on this planet, we are going to see some really, really intense snowstorms that are going to be off the chart once again. And we're probably going to see storms that roll through the entire United States that look like polar hurricanes. We saw one last year that rolled up through the central part of the United States, made its way all the way into northeastern Canada. It was half the size of the United States of America. And it had a vortex like a damn hurricane. That's coming. That's knocking on our back door. So we have time. We have time to prepare for these things. Don't hesitate. Do these preparations now. Because if you wait and you don't prep your house and maybe just secure some things, pick up those extra batteries, food provisions, couple cases of water, a flashlight, definitely a way to defend yourself. I mean, that's just me. But make sure that you guys are doing these things. Now, I'm not saying go hardcore prepper, but in case you lose power, you lose your electricity for a couple of days, maybe your pipes freeze, maybe water lines break. It happened to me twice last year. Busted water lines up on the main road. Me and Dr. Albers were without water one time for 5 days. 5 days without water. Yeah. So, I'm giving you guys a heads up. I'm showing all of you the dastardly deeds that are being done out there. And if it's being done to me, accessing this information, and I share it with you, then that means that it's being done to you too. And you should take that personally. And you should also take it personally when you see people on social media outright lying with their pictures that they're showing people. When you yourself, you know the truth. Don't let other people be fooled. Be that big brother. Be that big sister. Be that big mouth like me. Let people know. Call them out. Call it like you see it. Folks, we're all in this together, man. That's it. It is literally us against them. That's the way that it is. I'm going to continue. I have got some tricks in my bag for October and this upcoming fall and winter. You'll see. I'll announce these things in the very, very near future. What I need all of you to do is share the videos, join our Facebook group. I share tons of information there on everything, space weather, our weather, everything. Everything gets shared there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Join us over there. and share this information. If you're too damn scared to share a video on your Facebook page because you think that people, your Facebook friends are going to belittle you, they got a couple of screws loose. They need to grow up, and they need to truly understand what is happening. That's just a suggestion. You can do what you want to do. But anyways, folks, I'm out of here. I have to get myself over to work. I got people to boss around, people to bitch at, and got to make a living. So take it for what it is. I wanted to share all of this information with you because I think it's important for a lot of newcomers, a lot of new subscribers, people literally new to the information. They can literally get kind of an inside look on how tough and rough it is to do what I do. I'm not out there snapping photographs with a cell phone. I'm digging deep. I am literally getting into the face of the governments and their websites. And I'm not done with them yet. I've only just begun. Trust me. This is Scott from Planet X News. Thank you very much for being with me this morning. Take care. Be safe. Watch your weather. Start preparing now, folks, for the wintertime in the Northern Hemisphere. And for my Aussie friends, down under, you folks also start to prepare. Please. Take care, folks. See you soon. Stay tuned.